You're getting older. Maybe you've just turned 60, maybe 70. Maybe you're not there yet, but you feel it creeping in. You forget a name. You get up slower. You notice your hands aren't quite as steady, your balance not quite as sure. You tell yourself, it's just age. But what if it's something more? What if your body's already showing you exactly how long you'll stay healthy, sharp, independent? What if there are early warning signs, subtle ones, that tell the truth before a doctor ever does? In this story, you'll hear 7 hidden clues your body gives as you age. These are the small signs that separate those who thrive in their 70s and 80s from those who fade too soon. And no, this isn't fear-mongering. It's real, research-backed. And the sooner you recognize these signs in yourself, the more time you still have to change your future. So stay with me, because by the end of this, you'll know exactly what to look for and how to fight back. You noticed it brushing your teeth one morning, the way the handle shivered just barely, like your body was whispering something before it screamed. You almost didn't catch it at first. The trembling was so faint, you blamed the toothbrush, or maybe the cold. But you noticed it again while threading a needle, and then while holding your morning mug. The cup didn't fall, nothing spilled, but something shifted, something small, something yours. It's strange, isn't it? How the tiniest betrayals feel the loudest. You've faced surgeries, heartbreak, maybe even war, and yet here you are, shaken by a tremble. You wonder if anyone else has noticed. The way you use 2 hands now, not one. The way you rest your fingers against the table when no one's looking. You haven't said anything, because how do you explain a fear that hasn't earned its name? It could be nothing, you tell yourself. Just nerves, or age, or maybe you slept wrong. But deep down, some quiet part of you knows this isn't about sleep. It's about the slow, careful ways your body starts whispering when it doesn't want to shout. The medical truth? This subtle tremor could be the earliest sign of something deeper. Essential tremor, or perhaps Parkinson's disease. Most people think it starts with shaking, but it doesn't. It starts with hesitation, slowness, a small surrender of certainty in your own hands. And while not every tremble means decline, everyone deserves your attention. Because here's the thing about aging, your body does speak, but it no longer yells. It murmurs, it taps, it gives you clues if you're willing to listen. You might remember your grandfather's hands, how they shook while buttoning his shirt. You thought it was normal, just old age. But now that it's happening to you, it feels personal, unfair even. The truth is, there's no dignity in ignoring the signs. There's dignity in noticing, in asking questions, in pushing past the shame that says, don't make a fuss. You're not a fuss. You're not fragile for wanting to know what's happening. So here's a moment to reflect. When was the last time you told your doctor about something small? Not a big fall or a fever, just something off. A change in how you hold a spoon, how you grip the pen, how your fingers don't quite feel like yours anymore. This is your chance to stop dismissing the tiny things. Because the tiny things are the beginning, the clues, the gentle warnings before the storm. And the storm doesn't always have to come. Not if you meet it early, not if you meet it head on. So tonight, when you hold your cup of tea, notice how it feels in your hand. Not with fear, not with worry, just with presence. The body is trying to tell you something. You don't need to be afraid to listen. You cook the same meals, but something's different. Your stomach shrinks before your plate does, and meals feel like obligations, not pleasures. It used to be that food was one of life's greatest joys. A plate of warm stew on a rainy day, fresh bread from the oven, the smell of garlic in a pan, filling the house with memories. Now, you sit down, fork in hand, and feel nothing. Not full, not hungry, just blank. You pick at the edges, a few bites here, maybe half a sandwich there, and you tell yourself you'll eat more later. But later comes, and the same thing happens again. You're not trying to skip meals. You're just not interested. But what you might not realize is this quiet fading of appetite is not harmless. Here's the truth they don't tell you. Loss of appetite in older adults is a signal flare. It can be linked to muscle loss, malnutrition, depression, changes in hormones, even early cognitive decline. It's not just getting older. It's your body saying, I'm not getting what I need. And when the body stops asking for fuel, it starts eating itself, breaking down muscle, slowing the metabolism, weakening the immune system. Before long, you're not just skipping meals. You're shrinking inside and out. You remember Margaret? She was 74 and still cooked every day, colorful dishes, fresh ingredients, always inviting people over. She lived with spark. Now think of Susan, same age, same town, but something changed. She stopped cooking, started skipping breakfast, replaced dinner with crackers and tea. Everyone said she looked thinner, more tired. She brushed it off. And a year later, her health collapsed like a house built on air. You don't want that. You want to wake up feeling strong, not dizzy. You want to enjoy a warm plate, not fear the effort of finishing it, and it can be turned around. The solution isn't fancy, it's consistent. Start small. Don't skip breakfast. Even a protein shake counts. Choose high-nutrient, low-effort foods, eggs, soups, smoothies. Keep snacks nearby that are easy and dense. Nuts, dried fruit, cheese. And above all, don't eat alone if you can help it. Appetite is emotional, not just physical. Company nourishes too. You don't have to be hungry to eat. Sometimes you eat to stay ready, to stay strong, to stay here. So pause now and ask yourself, have you stopped looking forward to food? Do you go hours without eating, not because you're full, but because it slipped your mind? That's not nothing. That's not just age. That's the kind of signal your body gives before it starts slowing down. For real. The good news? This is one of the most reversible signs on this list. You can rebuild appetite. You can rebuild strength. But you have to choose to care for your body even when it feels silent, because silence is never neutral. It's your body choosing what to shut down next, and you get to say, not yet, not today. You used to sit for hours without thinking. Now every time you rise, it feels like your body is negotiating with itself to obey. There's a moment, right after the TV clicks off, or the cup is empty, or the book ends, when you realize you've been sitting too long. It doesn't hit you until you try to stand. You press your hands against the arms of the chair, lean forward, and pause. Your knees don't cooperate. Your back stiffens. Your ankles protest like rusted hinges. You used to rise without thought. Now it takes choreography. You think of your younger self, legs crossed on the floor, popping up like a spring. Now, even with a good chair, you need momentum, or help, or a second try. But what really stings is how normal the sitting feels, how easy it is to stay in one spot for hours, convincing yourself you're just relaxing, until the moment you rise and your body tells you you were not resting, you were stagnating. Here's the hidden truth. As we age, muscles shrink, especially in the legs. The medical term is sarcopenia. It's slow, insidious, and usually starts in your 70s, sometimes earlier. The less you move, the faster it progresses. The irony is cruel. Sitting feels easy, but it's quietly stealing the strength you need to move. What starts as needing a moment to stand becomes needing a hand. And eventually, if you ignore it long enough, needing a device, a cane, a walker, a rail bolted to your life. And yet, you're not lazy, you're not weak, you're just not told the full truth. No one warned you that stillness becomes a trap, that comfort becomes a thief, that your favorite chair can betray you. You remember the day you stopped taking stairs just because the elevator was there, not because you couldn't, but because you could and didn't. It felt like a small indulgence. It was actually a small surrender. And those small surrenders, they add up. So what do? You stand up before you feel like it. You interrupt the sitting. You don't wait for pain to move. You move to prevent it. Here's a simple truth. Strength after 70 is no longer passive. It's not a given. It's earned. Gently, steadily, daily. No gym required, just intention. You can start by standing during commercials, by walking to the mailbox instead of waiting for someone else to, by doing 5 gentle squats while the kettle boils. This isn't about becoming an athlete. It's about avoiding the invisible shift from independence to dependence. Pause here and ask yourself, how long have you been sitting today? Could you stand now? Not as punishment, as power, as defiance, as love for the version of you that still wants to walk without fear. You aren't failing, you're adapting. And sometimes, adaptation begins by rising before the ache sets in. That scratch from the garden should have vanished days ago. Instead, it lingers, red, slow, and stubborn. You nicked yourself doing something simple, trimming a plant, shaving, scraping your hand on a door frame, no big deal. But a week passes, then 2, and it's still there, raw at the edges, healing like it's on strike. You think maybe your skin's just getting thinner. That's part of aging, right? Here's what most people miss. When your wounds take longer to heal, it's not just a skin issue. It's often a sign your immune system is slowing down, or your circulation isn't what it used to be. Slow healing can point to deeper problems. Type 2 diabetes, poor blood flow, chronic inflammation, protein deficiency. Your body wants to recover, but it needs tools, nutrients, oxygen, immune cells. Without them, even small injuries become stubborn risks, and every slow healing cut opens the door to infection. Think about how many times you've shrugged off a bruise or ignored a sore that lingered. But these aren't annoyances, they're clues. What can you do? Eat enough protein, healing demands it. Keep blood sugar in check, move daily to boost circulation, and inspect your skin regularly, especially your feet and legs. This isn't about panic, it's about awareness. You can't afford to ignore what your body's trying to fix, because when healing slows, decline often speeds up. You're just walking across the room, and suddenly your chest tightens like you climbed a mountain you didn't see coming. You're not running, not lifting anything, just walking, maybe up the stairs, maybe across the kitchen, but halfway there something shifts. You feel it in your chest, a small struggle, like your lungs are shrinking, like air somehow got heavier. You stop to catch your breath, quietly, so no one notices. You tell yourself, I'm just out of shape. But deep down, something feels off. Here's the hard truth. Shortness of breath with light activity is one of the earliest signs of heart or lung trouble. It can point to congestive heart failure, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, or even anemia. It's your body telling you, I'm working harder than I should be. This isn't about gasping, it's about subtle strain. You shouldn't be winded tying your shoes. And no, it's not just age. There are 80-year-olds who climb stairs daily because they've kept their heart and lungs strong. So, what can you do? Get checked, especially if this is new. Add gentle cardio to your day, walking, water aerobics, anything that gets you moving. Practice breathing deeply. Shallow breathing becomes a habit and a trap. Your breath is life. If it's getting shorter, you don't wait. You respond, because the sooner you notice the strain, the better chance you have to rebuild your stamina and your future. You open your mouth to speak, and the words just disappear like they slipped out the back door of your mind. It starts small. You're telling a story, and suddenly you can't remember the next word, a name, a detail. You laugh it off. Senior moment, you say. But it happens again and again. You walk into a room and forget why. You stare at a familiar face, and their name hovers just out of reach. You begin a sentence and realize you have no idea where you were going with it. You feel a flicker of embarrassment, then worry. Is this just normal aging, or is something more serious creeping in? Here's the reality. Some memory slips are normal, but frequent word loss, confusion, or difficulty focusing can be early signs of mild cognitive impairment, or worse, the early stages of dementia. It doesn't mean you're doomed, but it does mean your brain is asking for help. Your brain, like your muscles, needs fuel, rest, and challenge. And when it's neglected through poor sleep, stress, inactivity, or isolation, it shows. What helps? Stay socially engaged. Do mentally stimulating activities, puzzles, reading, learning new skills. Get consistent sleep. Eat brain-friendly foods, fish, berries, leafy greens, nuts. Most importantly, don't brush it off. Talk to a doctor if you've noticed it happening more often, because catching these changes early could mean the difference between managing your mind or losing it. Piece by piece. You're not overreacting, you're listening, and that could make all the difference. You're not sure when it started, this quiet heaviness, the irritability, the way small things suddenly feel overwhelming. One day, you're crying at a toothpaste commercial. The next, you're snapping at someone you love over nothing. And afterward, you sit alone wondering, what's wrong with me? You used to be more patient, more joyful. Now your emotions feel like strangers, louder, sharper, or completely numb. And you can't quite figure out why. You tell yourself, it's just a bad week. But the bad weeks are starting to stack up. Here's what you need to know. Sudden changes in mood, sadness, anger, apathy are often overlooked symptoms of real health problems in older adults. They can signal depression, early cognitive decline, medication side effects, or even heart disease. Yes, heart disease. Your emotions are deeply tied to your body's chemistry. And as you age, those systems become more fragile, more reactive. Even a minor imbalance can feel like a tidal wave. And here's the kicker. Older adults often don't look depressed the way younger people do. Instead of crying, they get tired, withdrawn, irritable, silent. You might not even realize you're struggling, but the people around you might. So what should you do? Track your mood. Seriously, write it down. Patterns matter. Talk to your doctor, especially if you're on multiple medications. Stay connected. Isolation feeds emotional decline. Move your body. Even gentle exercise lifts the mind. Don't be ashamed to ask for help. Mood changes don't make you weak. They make you human, and acknowledging them is one of the strongest things you can do. So, if you've been feeling unlike yourself lately, don't wait for it to pass. You don't have to carry this weight alone. You don't have to explain it all at once. You just have to start paying attention to what you feel, to how long you felt it, and to what your body might be trying to tell you. Because emotional shifts are often the earliest warnings your body gives. And if you listen now, you can still rewrite what comes next. Take a walk. Call someone you trust. Bring it up at your next checkup. Even small steps matter more than you think. Your story isn't over. It's changing. And the fact that you're still curious enough to listen to your body, that's powerful. This was our first video on this channel, created just for people like you who want to age with awareness, resilience, and strength. If this resonated with you in any way, let us know. Comment, "I'm still listening," if you watched all the way to the end. Seriously, it means a lot, and it tells us you're one of the few who refuses to tune out when it matters most. Hit the like button so we know you're out there. Subscribe for more honest, science-backed, emotionally real videos about aging, health, and staying strong mentally and physically. We've got so much more to share. Until then, take care of yourself. And remember, your body is always talking. The question is, are you listening? See you in the next video.